There are some requisites to this tutorial along with some optional things that will make the job go easier. Let's get this out of the way first. You will need to be using a Steam Deck with EmuDeck installed launching ESDE or Emulation Station for your games. This tutorial has nothing to do with Steam ROM Manager or any entries you've put in there. You will also need EmuDeck using the microSD card to store the ROMs and BIOS files. This tutorial only works with a microSD card install. This will be clear later on why this is. You will need to download and install Linux file system for Windows. There's a link in the description below. There's a free trial, but it's some of the best 20 bucks I've ever spent. This is going to give us access to the Steam Deck's microSD card in Windows. Finally, you need my support scripts that will tie it all together. There's a link in the description below to get those. I highly recommend supporting Skraper.fr with a paid account. I believe it's $5 a month, and you get more threads and many more calls to their service every day. If you don't, this tutorial could take you days to finish, depending on how much stuff you're scraping. Everything else we'll be doing is part of the tutorial, so let's get to it. Let's start off by shutting down your deck and taking the SD card out, inserting it into your PC. Since Windows doesn't recognize the file system on the card, we'll use Linux file system for Windows. Let's configure it a bit. Turn off the auto mount, just gets you into trouble. Unmount the existing card and remount. This time make sure you use user 1000 and group 1000 along with 777 for permissions. Note the drive letter Linux file system is using. We're going to need it later. You can use your file manager to browse that newly mounted drive just so you can be sure that it is working correctly. There should be an emulation folder on the root. Now that we have access to our ROMs and folders, we can get started proper. Download Skraper from the website, link in the description below. Save it wherever you like on your PC, it's fully portable. Then extract the zip file and you should have a new Skraper folder. Now before you run it, copy the JSON file from my support scripts into the same folder as Skraper. This pre-configures almost everything you need to do this without any extra work. Once copied, open the JSON file in a pure text editor that has a solid find and replace, like the free Notepad++, which is what we're using here. Again, link in the description below. Search for the path you see here. When I made this config, I used an out-of-the-way drive letter, but your Linux file systems probably mounted your SD card somewhere other than W. If it just so happens to be W, you can actually skip this part. If you know how to change the drive letter to mount to W, you can do that instead. So we're going to want to replace the W path with your own SD card drive letter. Be wary of the syntax and be sure you're using the extra slashes. The replace should find and replace 140 instances. If not, then you did something wrong. Try again. Save the file and we're ready to get Skraper up. Run the Skraper exe and you're going to have a really big long download. It can take a very long time, but it only happens once. Let it run, go to the movies, go get lunch because this takes forever. Once you're done, you'll see the main interface. Choose all systems, then screen Skraper account. Enter your credentials and validate. If you don't have an account, this process is going to be a bit more miserable as it will be slower and have fewer hits each day. Now we're ready to scrape. You could do all systems or individuals. Remember, all systems is going to take a long time, and you might want to start with one for now. We're going to choose Atari 2600 first, then we'll do Atari Lynx. Select the system, then select the big play button. Right before your eyes, you will see the Skraper doing its work. It can take seconds, minutes, hours, or even days, depending on your subscription and how many systems you are scraping. Once the scraping is complete, we'll use my support scripts to help us out. We'll start with the short one, moveGameList.bat. Using your pure text editor, open the moveGameList.bat file and ensure the two lines are properly pointed to your SD card drive letters. Save and close. Now you're ready to run it. It will be pretty quick. It's just copying a single file for each system. These were created by Skraper but need to be moved somewhere easy to get to when we get back on the deck. See, the GameList XML file is per system and it is stored internally on the Steam Deck, so we can't directly move them, but we can stage them on your SD card for easy moving later. Now we're ready for the long one, moveMedia.bat. Once again, edit this file in your pure text editor and make the drive letter changes required to the top two lines. Now we run it. If it ends quickly, you probably mistyped something. You should see a bunch of files moving around. Since Skraper is a bit unflexible, we are moving the media from where Skraper wants it, tucked into the ROMs folder, to where ESDE wants it, into the tool/downloaded media folder on a per system basis. This could take a good deal of time. As long as things are flashing through the window, it's still working. Now that we've moved the media to the right spot and we've staged the game list to the SD card for subsequent copy, we're ready to unmount the SD card from Linux file system for Windows. You must do this. If you don't unmount, everything you just did will be lost. Once dismounted, you can remove the card from the PC and reinsert it into the deck. Power it up. Go to desktop mode and open Dolphin. Click Split and on the right, select your SD card. On the left, put your home folder. On the left, drill into the ESDE folder. You'll see a game lists folder. On the right side, navigate to Emulation and left drag the game lists folder from the right to the left. Select Move and be sure to overwrite and write into each folder as you see here. That should be pretty quick. Now let's recap what we've done. We've used Skraper against our microSD card containing our ROMs. It's scraped media and metadata for each game. We moved the media where it needs to be for Steam Deck, and we've overwritten our ESDE game list to ensure we're in parity with what Skraper saw. Now we're ready to profit from our hard work. Launch ESDE and check out the systems you scraped. Beautiful, isn't it? You should see media as well as metadata on the side. At this point, when you add a new game, you could use the built-in Skraper for the one and done. And if you're adding a whole new system, you can use Skraper again in the future to capture all that media and game list data. Now, obviously, if you have questions, find any bugs, or need additional assistance, please join our Discord at discord.monroeworld.com and come to channel Steam Deck. We'll help you get through it. Thanks for watching. If you like what we're doing, consider subscribing and getting notifications. And of course, we appreciate a like, share, and any comments about this video. I'm Shane R. Monroe, and while you're here, why not take a look at some of these other great Monroe World videos right now?